Sure about something to say first, and we'll get questions after that.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon. Good to see all of you again. It's been about a little over a month, so it's gone fast though. Just want to welcome you all back to campus, and I'm sure there's been other events you're here for, but just a lot has happened since the last time I've seen you, and I'm sure we'll have questions even with staff. Be happy to answer those just since, what was that, December 15th. So, but welcome back. It's an exciting day. We've got eight more guys that we're, bringing back onto campus here and added to our class. I appreciate your coverage, I guess, of the program. I just think that everything we do, getting the message out there, whatever it might be, is always a positive. And so I appreciate all of you for that. Today we got, a celebration of guys, and some of them I might even bring up as far as guys that are on campus that were here starting January 3rd, guys that were added since the last day, when we met, December 15th. So I first want to thank the staff, the coaching staff, and just kind of thinking through, if you go back to, kind of you understand and put the timeline all together, December 15th, it was a recruiting class, and shoot, a lot of these guys were in bowl games and doing different things even after that. And there's just a lot. You're kind of working two jobs. I know many of our coaches wanted to do a great job giving the kids experiences at the previous colleges that they were at, so previous universities. So I appreciate the staff. We've had, I think, a lot of momentum, a lot of great things that have happened. I'm excited about the guys we're going to talk about here, the student athletes. But we also, even this weekend had 150 guys that are prospects that were here this weekend for a junior day, which was super exciting, and thought we put our best foot forward and get the ball rolling for 2023. I think also just in the whole, talking about roster and the recruitment of student athletes, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about our team, our current team, and how important it is just, early in the process of recruiting those guys back to campus. And that's been awesome, getting to know these guys here that are working so hard right now these first 3 weeks. I was gone, on the road the last 2 weeks, didn't see them, and they've come so far already just since the beginning of January. The mindset, the buy-in, all of that, and it's a tribute to Coach Ron McKeefe, our strength coach, and his staff and what they're doing. But I'm fired up about the direction we're going. And as we get through the winter into the spring and you get a chance to talk with these guys, I'm excited to hear what they have to say, because I think they're seeing some great changes and great signs of momentum already at this time. So we have 4 high school signees, and then 8 for the class now, counting the previous 4 that we had back in December. And then we also have 7 transfers now total that we're going to talk about a little bit about. There are some walk-ons that just with the NCAA and just being able to announce those, we're not in a spot yet. So there might be something you see out there social media wise, where guys are doing things with signings, and I would like to think that they're all legit, in this day and age. You never know. But that's certainly the case with some of those guys. I'm excited to get to have an announcement at some point where, probably in March, where more guys are added to the roster, those being walk-ons. So 15 total that have been added to our team since December officially, and so we'll kind of get through it here, and at the end here I'll definitely open it up for questions. Looking at the high school student athletes first, Tristan Dunn, 6'4", almost 190 pounds safety, here from Sumner, and just local. And I guess when I look at Tristan, and I'll kind of be brief with each guy, but thinking about, he was probably one of the first names that was on my desk when I took the job. And it's really cool, going through December, kind of a little bit of contact, but then we really got into January, and it's been really awesome building a relationship with him and seeing his love and passion that he has for Husky football. And I guess, from a player standpoint, I mean, this guy is violent. He's a fierce competitor. He's super long, 6'4", long arms. He runs sideline to sideline. He can track down people. His highlight film is a lot of fun to watch. And so, just a great tackler, hits you hard over and over again. Just really excited about what he's going to bring to our team, to our program. It's been great to meet him and his family. Javion Green, as also in the secondary. He was recruited as a corner in our program. He's from Houston, Texas, and he's long as well. He is a strong 6'2", maybe even taller than that, but that's what we have him listed at, and almost 200 pounds. Just again, length. He's a guy that's just really fluid in how he moves. I think he's going to get stronger and faster as we go through this. He's a very smart football player. Smart person. He also in that 4.0 range academically. He's got, I think, his greatest ball ahead of him for sure as he grows and gets into our program. I'm fired up. He's really had a lot of production in his time there. And then we have the twins. We have some guys I am extremely excited to see come into this program and do some damage up front, and that's Armin and Javon Parker. These are young men that I don't know how they were flying under the radar, but with different connections and things like that we have, we were aware of who they were, and they were at Fordson High School. You talk about loyal guys, probably. In this day and age of where, a lot of people at the high school level are trying to get you to different programs, and these guys stayed loyal to their program and led the charge there at Fordson High School. And I think that's been the case here too, as they made their commitment to our program, staying loyal to us as other universities wanted to get them, in their program. And just their size alone, and that goes for really all four of these prospects. I think, you see 6'4" with Tristan, you see a long 6'2", and now you see, and this is a strong 6'3" that both of these guys are. 6'3" and a quarter maybe. But Armin's about 885 pounds. Javon's probably 295. But guys that will just anchor us down inside, just with their length. They are extremely strong. They love the weight room. They're all state football players there that just are, I think, again, going to make a huge impact on our defensive line. And just love the things that they do when it comes to how big they are, but also how athletic and how well they move for their size. So the hard workers, great work ethic. These guys are great additions, just in character as well to our football program. So those are the four high school additions to our program that we really want to highlight, and we have some transfers. And the cool thing about our guys that are coming into our program, and I probably won't talk them too much unless you have questions, is that all 7 that we have signed and plan to bring in will be here for spring ball. 3 of them are ready. With the 3 would be Jordan Perryman, who's here working out, doing a great job, pound for pound, one of the fastest and strongest guys in our football team, and just really love his personality and how well he's adapted. Michael Penix, quarterback, which I don't think we had a chance to talk about him. I think that came after our last press conference at quarterback, and he's a transfer from Indiana. And then DeMario King, who's coming from Cerritos Junior College, and a linebacker, I should just say inside, but a very versatile guy that can run and will quickly put on weight just because he's got the frame to do it. And being a part of a program like ours where, the nutrition and just the strength conditioning piece, it's going to be an awesome winner for him, and it already has. But the 4 guys also that will be coming into the fold here going into the spring for spring ball, and they'll enter at that time Junior Alexander, local, and wide receiver. Just his production, I think, in his high school years is just something you can't overlook. Wide-eyed, love his mindset, love his mentality, exciting to be around, has great energy. Just his production and just the way, the way he is already, just coming on his visit, the relationships he has with our guys in our football team already kind of being established is really cool to see. Cam Bright is a linebacker. He was a integral part of a team where he was also a team captain. I think that's a big deal because just in all of these things, when we bring this team together, it's not just about who they are as football players, but who they are as people. And, we have to have every roster spot mean something, and it has to be character related and as well. So Cam's played a lot of games in his college career, and just looking at that position and the need we had there, it was a perfect fit. The timing was perfect. You talk about amazing personality. You talk about a guy on a mission to want to do something real big. That is exactly him, and I'm really fired up about what Cam's going to bring from a leadership standpoint too. Just rock solid, runs extremely well, plays physical, and just all the experience again through the production he's had. So he's a team player. He really wanted to understand who our roster was and what our expectations were for this fall. That was a big deal, having only 1 year left. Aaron Dumas is a running back. Aaron was actually a guy that we recruited out of high school a year ago when I was a year ago before I got here, and he played a lot as a true freshman. Had a big game against my former team, and that was his biggest game of the year. And obviously that was something that stuck out when the opportunity came to look at him and the opportunity here at UW. Just a lot of accolades. I just think he's super consistent. He's very versatile, not just a runner inside and outside, but also a guy who catches the ball well. Just took a lot of note from that as we were looking back on the film from his season this year. So, and then the fourth one is Kevin Ryan. Kevin is a punter. You just look at his numbers from this last year. He'd have definitely been in the top 20 in the country with his average. He'd have been top 20 actually with the punts that were over 50 yards as well. And so just a solid guy, been a 3-year starter. And again, just like the rest of these guys that I'm talking about, these guys have great character, work ethic, want to be a part of something special. The team is definitely ahead of first and foremost in their minds, and could be more excited to have all of them with us. So that's really the group. I'm sure there's some questions, and I'll want to answer those here. From a staff update, we've finished up pretty much the coaching staff as well as the support staff and off the field staff, and I can't say enough about how the working environment is each and every day, coming in and just seeing everyone every day do everything they can to keep us moving in a positive direction. It's been awesome. This last weekend, just having a short amount of time to prepare and pulling it off the way we did, I just think it was a great job by them. And spring ball, I know we'll announce some dates here shortly. We're just trying to lock down a couple details and finalize a few things, but it's pretty much going to be the month of April is when we will have spring ball. I know it won't be starting any earlier than March 30th, and it's kind of around April 30th right there will be the end. So it'll be a little later probably than what I'm used to, but I just think that when it comes to installing an offense and defense and special teams, that we want to spread it out as long as we can and maximize every opportunity. So I'm excited about these guys. I'm excited about the direction our current roster and current team are going. I think a lot of momentum, a lot of guys feeling really good about what we've accomplished here, even just the first 3 weeks of training. Any questions?
Kalen, I'm curious, it's right here. It's a focus for any program, of course, to keep in-state guys at home, and that's been a struggle at times here in recent years. How do you go about improving that and focusing on that as a program, just keeping the Washington guys at Washington?
Right. Yeah, I think number one, it just takes time to, our culture within our team, I think at some point will show itself over the course of time. And I just think word of mouth from our players, and just the way they act and the way they are and what people see when they watch them play. Social media plays a role in that too, and just the energy that you can kind of feel from guys. I think there's a lot of different ways where you feel what it's like to be a UW Husky, and then obviously we have to do a good job of establishing relationships early in the process, really building on that, getting around and really meeting the coaches to where the coaches trust who we are and that what we say is actually really what we're going to do. I feel like we've worked hard on that. We're just barely scratching the surface, I think, on that, what that will become. But, you get only one chance to make a first impression. I think right now we're working hard to make sure, the coaches and the state of Washington, everyone involved knows that that's going to be a priority.
You see Cam Bright as a traditional inside linebacker?
Yeah, I think so. I think in today's game, you have to be able to run, you have to play physical, and so I do. I think he can play multiple spots. I think he is versatile that way, but you have to be able to cover vertical seams and wheel routes, even if you're an inside backer in some ways. Someone running up the seam, you got to carry those, and the cool thing is he's a guy that's not, he's not scared at all to come down and hit you in the hole. I really just think that him as a whole, not just how he plays, but who he is. I think he's going to add a lot to our team and just continue to be an addition, a hugely positive addition to our culture and what we're trying to accomplish here.
Kalen, you said the Parkers flew under the radar, and I did look at all their recruiting profiles, and it seemed like they were limited on, say, Division I offers. And I'm thinking, is that because they were twins and it's hard to sell two guys to a program instead of just one?
I think there might be some of that. I think that is hard. And so I think in the end, we're just really excited. We got them both, and I think they got some big time football ahead of them. But I'm sure, that would be, I guess, something, maybe they would understand a little bit more. I think we talked about that a little bit, and there was probably some schools that were thinking that way, to where really is there two of these guys that we can afford to bring in our program, and man, we were all in from the get-go. There was no question. And again, we knew just with different contacts and different connections and kind of where we've been in our years coaching, where we really got an idea of who these guys were and how special they were, and just their work ethic. There's no doubt in my mind that these guys are going to be special players. They're going to cause a lot of problems inside. Just their size alone and athleticism on top of it are just, I think, special already at this age.
Of the 7 high school guys that you got, can we anticipate seeing any of those for spring ball?
No, we will not have any of them here for spring ball. The 7 high school guys. Yep.
What went into not signing a quarterback out of high school? Was it mainly getting Michael as a transfer, and kind of how do you evaluate the quarterback room going into spring?
Yeah, I think. What was the first part of the question?
Not signing any high school quarterback.
And I think where we're at right now, I think it's, there was 3, we lost the 1 to graduation, and now we're back to 3. And so going through the spring, and I think you just always want to evaluate where you're at, and even the walk-ons in the program, giving them a chance to take those reps. And, we can't see these guys throw until we get to spring ball. And so, and I think just the quarterback position alone, there's just, we want to build it. I think what you're getting to with your question is we do want to build it with high school guys that come up through the program, essentially. And, just waiting for the right setup and the right movements going forward into the 23 class, but, I think there are guys we're recruiting and just kind of guys that we're kind of waiting to see what else we have within our own team here going into the spring and the summer.
Hey, Coach, over the years, we're seeing, coaches have had reputations of being the recruiters and the dynamic recruiters, and we're kind of seeing a shift where guys like Courtney Morgan are having a big influence on recruiting, and every school seems to have one. How much, when you take a look at these transfers and the high school guys, how much of Courtney's fingerprints are all of this?
Yeah, I think Courtney is a huge part of a part of what we do. I think you can just look back to how quickly his hiring happened. Just think to the timeline. I think you have, your core, your pillars, right? Your coordinators, your strength coach, and I think, for us, it's the director of player personnel position as well. Every guy's important on our staff, but the recruiting, the strength conditioning, you have all these different areas, and having worked with Courtney for a year, and it was an extremely hard year during that COVID time, and just seeing how, again, not only does he have the connections, not only does he work really hard, but he just is all about, it isn't about him and who he got signed. It's about our team and building the best roster that we possibly can. And he goes beyond just being a recruiter too. He's going to be the guy that's walking around the football field, and just watching and just seeing and evaluating who we are and coming back to me and talking about, where we need to continue to be better. He's just really cool to be around. I think our team really, as they get to know him as well, they're going to see him as a mentor. And so he just loves that all-encompassing role that he's in. And he did an amazing job that 1 year, and that's why he was a priority to bring back into our program.
You mentioned having 150 kids on campus last week, and I'm curious, when someone visits, when you have a kid visit, what's kind of the message that you're trying to, show them about UW, and how do you go about making the right impression? Yeah,
I think it's about showing what we're capable of doing. There's 2 national championship trophies sitting in our trophy case, and there's a lot of Pac-12 championships that have happened here. The Rose Bowl appearances, all the players that developed and went on to the NFL. So showing what's capable of happening from that standpoint, but then I think also showing how we're going to do it. The integrity we're going to have within the program and the class that hopefully is seen by and felt by our community. And even our just our institution. And being someone that can be proud of, and academically. Just showing and making sure that these prospects come to campus and realize what type of education they can get here at Washington. So, you try to give them the big general picture in all these different areas, and then as you get to know them, you really, give them the details. And I think on top of all of that, it's showing them that when they come to this program, they are going to be cared for in a special way. And I don't mean that as like we're pampering. I'm talking about, you have a position coach, you have a strength coach, you have a coordinator, you have a head coach, all these people that are in line in who they are and who we are as our philosophies in coaching. And, when you have people like that, and you're doing things for others, it's fun coming to work every single day. And that's just the environment and the atmosphere I'm trying to facilitate here in this program, where it's fun to be here, and we're going to work extremely hard, but it's going to be something where it's just like, man, we got a lot done today, and it didn't feel like, we were hardly here that long. And I think that's what we're trying to get through them, to them, and that only comes through the relationship building.
Did Courtney Morgan's Michigan background lead you to the Parkers?
Yeah, I think there's, I coached out there, in that area as well for 3 years. And so understanding kind of football out there and just the different connections and identifying, I think there was, Coach Brechterfield had a role in that, and just, finding them as well. And it's been cool. We've been able to relate to them because of those different, different places that many of our staff have been.
Could you kind of describe the Husky hybrid position in your defense? And is there anybody, whether in this class or on the current roster, who you've kind of identified as maybe being able to play that role?
Yeah, the Husky is really just your nickel. But that, I think that, and shoot, this is for the defensive coordinators to talk about, but I think it's one of the most essential spots on the field for you. It's your really athletic safety, or it's your really physical type corner. It depends on who you have on your team, and you transform it, and the different things we can do with the Husky, playing in coverage or bringing pressure, is a big deal. And so having a guy that's flexible, like a Dom Hampton, or some of those type of guys. I mean, it's like maybe even a Tristan Dunn, might be that type of guy with his length out there in space. And a lot of times it's that safety that's just so diverse and can do a lot of things. And so the more dynamic that guy is at that position, the better off and more flexibility and more fun our defensive coordinator and staff are going to have, dialing things up and putting scheme in place.
Can you give us a scouting report on Michael Penix and how he fits into what you want to do? And then also, with Sam and Dylan and taking a look at film, how much different is it going to be doing what you want them to do compared to what they've done with that?
Yeah, I think our offense is, over the years, we've done it different ways with different people. And so it's just, first and foremost, though, you need to have someone who can distribute the ball. You have to be able to throw it. And we're going to have too much talent surrounding this year and also in the years to come. We're going to have too much talent, skill talent around to where if you're just a handoff guy or you're just a zone read guy, that's not going to be enough, because we want to utilize and make every tight end and wide receiver, running back a threat to make a big play. And you have to be able to get the football to those guys. And so, I think you asked about Michael in particular, and then, I was with him for a year, so I know what he's capable of doing, throwing the football. And I haven't even had a chance to, we can't throw the football around right now. So with Sam, who obviously I've watched film, and Dylan as well, those guys certainly, check that box and then some as well. And so I feel good about where we're at. You got a lot of guys you got some guys that have taken a lot of snaps at the college level, and then you got Sam who's had an amazing career, and just going to have a chance to get developed here and have Coach Grubb and myself, and actually like Nick Sheridan, our tight ends coach. There's a lot of eyes that have that kind of that detail towards how to make it great for the quarterback position and how to develop those guys. And so they have to be able to throw it first and foremost. Anything that you can do running on top of that is a bonus in my mind, just extending plays. Maybe it gives you a few more options with a quarterback run, but we're not going to beat those guys up except for when we absolutely need them to get those hard yards and move the chains or score a touchdown for us.
Is it unusual for you to have more left-handed quarterbacks than righties?
Unusual being more than one? Yes, that is unusual. So it just seems like we've talked about that, and it's interesting because there are things that, as you know. Even myself being a coordinator for many years, there are some things that certainly are right-hand oriented. But I've been through a year with that, with Michael at Indiana, and we had a couple right-hand quarterbacks with him, and then I've actually been through that a couple other times too, where you do have a lefty. So, Coach Grubb has coached lefties the last year or two as well. So, but yeah, it is a unique thing. There's no question that we have two, and so it just seems to be that even in the recruitment moving forward, there's more lefties, and you kind of take note, like, oh, this is interesting. So.
When you're going to recruit a quarterback, let's say moving forward, what are kind of two things that you look for from them that really kind of stand out? Because maybe one coach puts a premium on arm strength, whereas another one accuracy. So
Yeah.
what do you look for when you look for guys?
Yeah, I think the arm talent, right, is what you're talking about. And so you have to be, we want to be in that 65 to 70% accuracy as far as a passer. And that's in our system, and we've had guys who were less than that in high school that, once they get in our program and really understand, you're trying to evaluate now, like, okay, is the accuracy, of a 55% accurate passer because of what they're doing and they're just taking shots down the field, or is it because he really doesn't understand, the concepts? And so you're really trying to evaluate all those things and seeing. That's why it's so important to see guys throw in person, whether it's camp or during evaluation period at a game. That's why that's so important. But I think on top of that, it's just, there's so much, with the poise and the character and just the leadership, the leadership that a quarterback can bring. If that guy is one of the hardest working guys on the football team and one of the guys that plays with a lot of grit and just passion, man, it makes it a lot easier to get the rest of your football team feeling that way and going that direction as well. So, those guys who are just convicted in who they are, but also willing to put the team, someone who leads where, they're okay with being vulnerable, as a quarterback. I just love a lot of those characteristic traits that those guys have. So, but I think arm talent, and what you just asked is where it starts. And then anything, again, that you can do running and using your legs to move those chains and get those, escape opportunities out of the pocket are just an added bonus.
Any kind of philosophy or thought on the number of guys you want to add from the portal each year? Or a maximum number of transfers you want to have on your roster or anything like that?
Yeah, no, I think it all depends on how many guys are leaving your program too. We had to fill a linebacker spot because we lost one. And, we needed to, and just things worked out that way. It just worked out perfect. We found the exact guy that we feel is a great addition to our team, but also filled a need, with the snaps that we need to have. Those guys are also, I'm just talking about linebacker in particular, and even some of these DBs. I mean, those are the guys that are heavily involved in special teams as well. And that's a lot of snaps and a lot of added plays and just kind of some wear and tear on guys. And so getting back to your question, I think with the portal, I think it's going to be fluid. I can't say I can give you a number. I think, right now coming in as a first year coach here, it's about that balance of trying to, make sure we got a great football team on the football field this fall, but also, trying to make sure we're building for the future. And I feel like we've done a pretty good job of addressing that. There are some unknowns. With who as much as we've studied film, not every guy shows up on film. We don't know who some of those backups are because that took limited snaps. You can watch practice film or something like that maybe, or huddle highlights, from there if they're a younger player in particular. But there's some unknowns. There's also some unknowns with guys recovering from injuries, that we have on our team that we're just kind of waiting to see as they go through the process of rehabbing and coming back. Trying to make sure we have our bases covered and having some depth. A guy like Aaron Dumas coming in, at running back, it may look on paper like we got a lot, but we're just kind of waiting to see and making sure that we're not caught in a bad spot here going through spring practices where you got to, build your offense and defense and have guys that can take reps and also having a caliber player that can get out there and get the job done for you on Saturdays.
Are you able to talk about Jackson Kirkland situation?
I think is what I'll just say. I think it's a known that he's going through some things right now. There's really nothing I can confirm right now as far as where that process is at, other than, it's very clear because I know it's out there that, he's had to deal with an injury, and so there's nothing that I can really confirm right now because there's processes and things like that he's got to go through.
Coach, going back to business question on My Life Futures. I know it's not a formal organization affiliated with UW, but can you describe the impact it's had on recruiting so far? And can you also describe the mechanics of how players and business sponsors, endorsers get together?
Sure. You know, when we have, here on campus, we have, you know, NIL personnel that are responsible for kind of being that liaison. And, you know, from the mechanic standpoint, it's great having a group that can connect our players who have interest in doing NIL, along with people in the community or, you know, businesses that want to take advantage of what, you know, a name could be for you know, for their business. And so I think it's going to be a huge deal. I would say that for the most part, it's on the up and up, where the Mountain Lake Futures Group is doing a great job of trying to make sure things are done the right way. And I can see it playing a major role with our current roster and recruitment in the future. And I'm excited about that. That's a big deal. There's some people that really, you know, want to take advantage of what they can do for our and take advantage for themselves with the businesses that they have, but also, you know, with what our guys can do working alongside with them. So.
Do you have agreements between players and businesses so far?
Yeah, I think there's some guys that have NIL agreements. I know there are, you know, and that's slowly, I think, going to continue to build on itself. And I think the most important thing that I care about is that it's done the right way and that there's a sound foundation to where it's not just something that comes and goes, that the longevity of it is sustained, you know. And so that's what I care about, and I know that's what the Mountain Lake Futures, you know, everyone who's involved with Mountain Lake Futures feels as well.
Hey, Kalen, just going back to the Husky position and the safety, you talked about the importance of the physicality, you know, being physical. Tristan Dunn is an example.
Right.
How much is the mental aspect of you looking at that position?
Yeah, I mean, every position, right? But I think that position, just being fearless, being a guy that is not afraid to get matched up and play man on a slot receiver, which I know there's going to be some really good ones. You know, maybe someone that has come down and play over a tight end, you know, depending on how the alignments, and then also someone who just has that knack of getting to the quarterback when you want to pull the trigger and bring pressure with them as well. So it's a person who's a jack of all trades, just kind of got that instinctual awareness, guy that physically is just very gifted and can do a lot of stuff for it, you know, for that position.
How much does it help that the fact you play basketball as well?
Yeah. I mean, just again, spatial awareness, right? Making decisions and having to try, you know, there's a lot of things. I love dual sport athletes, and so, you know, we have a few of those even in this class.
There are a number of players on the roster from last year that announced that they're staying here. I mean, were those conversations that had to take place over multiple weeks and convincing, or did that feel like you were kind of recruiting like new players again, or how did that work out?
Yeah, and I would probably tell you that probably that if there was one surprise, I think you guys asked me this question the first time, you know, what's been the hardest thing? I think that was something that probably was a little tougher than what I imagined, just because of how much these guys have gone through over the course of the last 2 years. You know, I've gone to different programs, you know, but I can't say that it's been something where the turnovers happened within 2 years at this rate. And then you add COVID, and you add just, you know, when guys feel like it's kind of stable, and all of a sudden, you know, you have another change on the coaching staff. And so I think those things are hard, and that's what I feel having gone through it now, though. I told the guys this when we were meeting hours upon hours and just getting to know each other and build those relationships, that we're going to be even better because of it now that we had to really, you know, get together and talk through that. And I think just at some point it'd be, you know, hopefully we can get you out there to see just what our guys are going through right now, and the energy, just walking in the weight room, you know, on any given day, and just seeing the smiles and seeing the energy and how they hustle, and how, you know, it's just, there hasn't been one thing when we've asked especially in the strength conditioning area, we asked them to do where they have flinched at all. It is just picking up steam, and it's a huge tribute to these guys. And what I really asked them to do is just pull down the walls and let us touch their hearts and minds, and get to them. And they're allowing us to do that, and I really appreciate it.
When you talk about guys figuring out guys dealing with injuries, do you mean their availability for spring ball, or are there some guys who might have to move on from football?
Maybe, I don't know. I think both. Maybe there's some guys that we're trying to figure out exactly when it gets to spring ball, what that looks like. And so, I think there's a little bit of both. So we'll see. We'll see as we go through spring. I think it will sort itself out. But I just don't want to get caught in a position where, we're short and we can't do drills and give looks and, practice against each other. So.
Coach, back when Sarkeesian was here, he started a tradition out on Twitter. When he'd get a commitment, he would just post woof.
Yeah. Yep.
Carried over to Coach Pete and Jimmy Lake, and you kind of deviated from that a little bit. Can you just...
I figured to add a little spice to it, and we might change the wolf from year to year, and we'll kind of feel it out and stuff, have some fun. I'll try to make it known. I know the first one that went out, right, it locked up, I think, is what the problem was. And so that was all fun and games. I love it. I think it's a great thing. I think a lot of programs I've been at have done something similar in some form or fashion, but appreciate our graphic department putting that together. But the first time I put it out, it just locked up, and don't know why, but we're off to a little bit of a slow start and heard a lot about it. So, but it's all fun.
When you do that, when any coach does that, our phones and just email, texts just blow up.
I'm sure.
What happens to yours?
Yeah, I literally am on to the next thing. And so I know if I probably went back, it isn't necessarily the text messages, it's probably more of the social media piece, but no, yeah, it's cool. That's all part of building the fan excitement and just trying to figure out, hey, who's in, who's joining the dogs. And so that's been fun.
Thank you, everybody.
You bet. Thank you, guys.